Hi, hello, this is Joanne Hewins from LoveToCreate.typepad.com. Today I'm going to share a card with you. This is a card I made for a swap with the North Carolina demonstrators, and just want to tell you about how it was made. I used for this the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. It's part of the Flowers for Every Season suite, but we'll be using the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set. We'll also be using the dies that go with that. So here's the stamp set, and here are the sunflower dies that we'll be using also. So let's get started. I also want to share with you that we're going to be using paper from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. This is just perfect for so many different cards. It is actually kind of like a double pack. It has 12 double-sided sheets to each of 12 double-sided sheets. I'll get it out. So really great paper. I'm going to find uses for that, I think, so much. So let's work on the card. The card base is a thick whisper white. It is 5.5, I'm sorry, about 8.5. And I have a score line, don't know if you can see it, at 4 1/4. And so I'm going to pull in my bone folder. Even though I have it scored, it's a good thing to still try to match your corners here and make sure that everything is straight. You know, we're scored by humans, so it's not always perfect. And then we have a new embossing folder. It's called Tasteful Textile. And I went ahead and ran this through my embossing machine. So there's the folder. I don't know if you can see the design that's on that or not, but really neat. Now on this card, I put it through like this and ran it through. But when I do that, I have to put this on the side. So not a real great idea if you want to keep your folders around for a while. It's easy to kind of make that come apart. So I went ahead and did it on a separate sheet of paper this time, and I'm just going to glue it to the front. I think especially if you are somebody that teaches classes, I think this might be your better bet if you want to keep your supplies a little bit longer. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this to the front. And this is cut at 4 1/4. 4 1/4 by 5.5. I have these measurements on the blog post, so don't worry about that and the mistakes that I might end up making. So there we go with the front of the card. And okay. So the paper that we're using, as I said, is from the In Good Taste. This is a gray granite. The back of it looks kind of like some tile. And I've already cut that out. I used the very largest shape of the stitched nested labels, so the very largest one. And I'm going to glue this onto the front of the card. Now, while I'm gluing this, I'm going to tell you, after being home alone, well, with my husband for a long time, I've decided to, I'm sorry about my voice, I've decided to have classes again, and I'm in the middle of, I run a couple of classes of the same card, and I'm in the middle of a class that is using this sunflower. So I'm going to tell you that I'm going to stamp this using the Stamparatus. Normally, I would not do that if I were just making one card. But this will also show you how you can use the stamp quickly if you're making multiples, which I did make 13 of that card. So what I did is I stamped with the stamp on this piece of paper. The card I'm using is using Very Vanilla for my class, but I stamped on here. I took it and cut it out with the die, which would be this one right here. And then that made a template for me. So what I've done is I've cut out another one of the sunflowers, this one out of the white that I want. It doesn't matter, it'll still fit in my template as long as I don't move this, and that's why I didn't want to take this off. I want to keep that so that it's ready for my class. So let's talk about how you're going to find exactly where to put that. I found that there are a couple right in here that just kind of lean a little bit over here toward the right. And for me, that's the easiest place to line it up. And when I lined up the stamp, I put those going straight up here at the top. So really all I have to do is find those leaning over and match them up. And there we go. I've got that right in place, and it didn't take but a second. So I'm going to pull in my gray granite pad and ink up the flower. And hopefully it will come out perfectly. The good thing about the Stamparatus is if it doesn't, if I need to stamp again, I can. So I'm just going to put that down and press that. And there it is. But look at the center there. I really didn't get that very good. So I can just ink it up again. Make sure I get that center. And I can stamp it again. Press more on that center. And there we go. Well, we'll press a little bit more. There. And then, oh, I want to leave that where it is. I'm just going to pick that up and pull out the sunflower and leave that right where it is for my class. I'll come back and clean that stamp in a little while. So I'm going to color in my daisy. Oh, it's not a daisy, it's a sunflower, but maybe it's a daisy on this card because I don't have the traditional sunflower colors so much. I'm going to color the inside of this with the dark Mango Melody blend. Now, Bumblebee is the new color for this year, but it does not come in a blend because it's just very close to some of the things we already have. So, Mango Melody for this one. Isn't that bright and pretty? And then I'm going to pull in my light gray granite blend, and I'm just going to color some of this. I think this is a little bit darker than some of the others. And I'm just going to come up and just add some highlights on this. I'm not going to blend it. I'm just going to kind of go where some of the lines are on here, maybe a little bit up in there. I'm just doing it quickly. Just to give it a little bit more interest. And there, that takes it around there. Add a little bit out here. And I think that's good enough. So we'll be adding this to the card with dimensionals. Now mine looks a little bit darker. In fact, I really think for this one I might have used the smoky slate, but the designer paper is actually gray granite, so I decided to switch over. You can tell me which one you like best when we're done. So I'll take those off nice backs. There we go, and I'm just going to put it here. All right, and then we're going to need to do our leaves. So that is going to be 3 of the leaves. I'm going to stamp it in the same color. And then I'm just going to color that with a light old olive. And I'm not even really blending to make this any more special than just the gray outline and the color of the leaf. I'm not adding in the dark old olive, just this. Now I've just realized that I need some old olive cardstock, and I don't have that in here with me. So I may just finish it without that and add it a little bit later, but I'll show you what I did. So you can see I didn't take a lot of trouble with coloring these leaves. There they are. And I am going to use this leaf shape for the outline. Now, for the old olive leaves that I have here, I used the old olive cardstock and this die. As I said, I forgot to bring that in here, so I'm just going to leave that part off. I think it's pretty self-explanatory to just run that through, and then I added it with glue dots on top. Let me pull in the die cutting machine, and we'll go ahead and cut out these leaves. You know, Stampin' Up! Has a new die cutting machine in the catalog, but that is not quite ready yet. So you'll just have to be patient. It sounds like it's going to be fantastic. Okay, let me pull that off. I always feel awkward when I'm doing this because it's just awkward. I'm holding a couple of pieces in my hand and hoping that I don't mess this up while I'm on camera. Okay. The new machine also is going to have a magnetic plate that you can buy separately, and that plate is going to have the magnet throughout. The one that we have now has little circles of magnets, and if you have a small die, it tends to move it around. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this solid magnetic plate will be like. I think it's going to be really fantastic. Okay, so there we go with that. You take off, this is just some old washi tape that I used. Okay, so we have our leaves. We'll pull this back in. And I'm just going to use some glue dots to put those on. And I may give you a little tip. I think what I'm going to do is put a glue dot at the end, since I don't have those other things. And I'm going to put a dimensional out here at the end so that it will start with a flat look to it and have some lift out at the end. So I'll do that with both of these. So I'll just add the glue dot, and then I'll add a little bit of my dimensionals. I'm getting near the end of the pack and I'm going around the outside. I want to use it all. Hope you do that. And then we'll put this here and this over here. Okay, so that gets that. For the ribbon, we are using, here it is, we're using part of the Ornate Garden Ribbon Combo Pack, and this is the Old Olive ribbon. And I'm going to try something. I hope I don't regret it. I just got my order in, and this is the new stamping seal that they've come out with. I'm going to open this, and I haven't opened it at all. It says to take the cap off to run it, and your fingers just kind of fit there, and you very lightly touch it, it says. So oops, that would not have been the thing to do, but I'm going to, there. I've got a little bit of that went across, and I'm going to use that for my ribbons. So I'm going to do some ribbon that goes up, and then I'm going to bend it down, and then I'm going to bend it out this way. And then we'll trim the ends like this. And then I'm going to bring in some more of my scrap. Let's see if I can get this saying on here. I think I'm going to turn it this way. And we're going to be using for the saying the lovely You stamp set. For the outside, I'm going to use Cherished Friend. So let me get that. And I think on the front here, I have it in Old Olive, but I'm going to go ahead and use Gray Granite with that, because again, I miss getting that. I thought I was being so careful to get everything I would need. Okay, I think that'll work. And I'm just going to cut around the words with snips. I find that if I use these small scissors, it helps me get in the smaller spaces a little bit better. Turn your paper instead of your scissors. Okay. And then we'll add some dimensionals to the back of this. I'm going to snip just a little small piece from the end here. And then I think I can use that. Yeah. And we'll just put that right over the ribbon and over the seal. And what do you think? Do you like the Old Olive better or the Gray Granite better? Not sure about that. Now, on my card, I used the 2000, 2022 in color enamel dots. And I thought I had some of those laying within reach, but I must not have gotten in here with those either. But let me tell you, there's been a little bit of a problem with those. First of all, I ran out of the yellow or the bumblebee color with my swaps, but then I found out that some of the people got my swaps and they no longer had the little dome on here, so there's been a little bit of problem with that separating. And Stampin' Up! Knows of the problem. They are working on that, and they're going to send me some more. But so I just got my order, and these elegant faceted gems were in there. And I think I'm going to open these and try them on the card. And I'm going to I'm trying to decide if I want to try to color them with the Mango Melody blend or just use the white. I think I'll try to color them and see what happens. So I'm going to use the big end. It looks like that's going to work. Maybe I'll use a big one and two small ones. We'll see how that does. So I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool, and we'll put one here, and then these two here. I kind of like that. So you can color them. Very pretty. Okay, now I really do think, I do miss the old olive leaves. So if you were going to copy this card, I would suggest that you add those leaves to that. Now on the inside, I have Just Because. That is also another saying from the lovely You. I love the fonts that they've got mixed in there. So I'm going to pull in my gray granite. In the sample, it's stamped in Old Olive. And I'm going to put that here. Yay! After I started to stamp that, I thought I really didn't check to see if that was an even, put on there evenly or not. Okay, and then I want to do this smaller sunflower for the inside of the card. So I'm going to stamp that with the gray granite. Now you might wonder why I don't just stamp it directly on the card, and that's because I'm going to color it with blends. And the blends will fade through or sink through to the back of the card, and I just don't really want that to happen. So I'm going to pull in my Old Olive and color this leaf. This is the light Old Olive. And for this one, I'm using the smaller end. Just kind of a preference that you might have, whether you use the large end or the small, or the job you have to do. And then we'll do the inside with the Mango Melody. This is the dark Mango Melody. And then we'll cut that out with the dies. It's going to be this die right here. So let me pull back in the die cutting machine, and we will get that cut. There we go. And I'll put a little bit of tape down to hold that in place. I hope it's on there well. All right. Pretty good. And we'll just take a little bit of glue and add this to the inside of the card. Okay, and there we go. That's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed making the card. I hope you'll try it, and thank you. The measurements and the details will be on my blog post, and that will be in the comments of this YouTube video. Thank you so much. If you need any supplies, let me know. Bye-bye.